In today's video, we're going to be creating a rock paper scissors game using Tkinter. So, let's get started. First, create a new folder on your computer and name it Project 3. In this folder, we will need to store your script and your images. Create a new script by opening idle and save it as rock paper scissors within the folder we just created. You will need some images for this application. Here are the images used. You can take a print screen or screenshot of this video in full screen to capture the images. The image sizes are 210 by 210. All you will need to do is copy and paste them into Paint or any image editing software and split them into separate PNG files, one file for each image. Save these within your recently created folder and name them rock, paper, and scissors, like so. Now that we have got the folder set up, let's start creating the script. First, let's create a Tkinter window to display our game. At the top of the script, type import Tkinter as TK. On the next line down, type from Tkinter import *. What this does is it imports all functions that are currently stored in the Tkinter library. Normally when we do a library import, it only imports the default functions associated with the library. But the library can sometimes have custom functions that we can specify in the import statement, or we can just use the * symbol to import all associated functions. Enter a few lines down and type window equals tk dot tk open bracket close bracket. This initializes the main window. On the next line down, type window dot title open bracket apostrophe rock paper scissors apostrophe close bracket. This sets the title of the window. On the next line down, type window dot state open bracket apostrophe zoomed apostrophe closed bracket. This will open the window in full screen by default. On the next line down, type window dot config open bracket background equals apostrophe black apostrophe close bracket. This sets the window background color to black. Enter a few lines down and type window dot main loop open bracket close bracket. All our code will be placed between the initial window statements and the end main loop. If we run the code now, you will see that we have a full screen black window. Let's create a variable which will help us place things later. Under the window statements, type screen underscore width equals window dot w info underscore screen width open bracket close bracket / 100. This will get the current window's width and divide it by 100, so that we can place things at intervals of 1% of the maximum screen width. Now, let's import 3 pictures that we have stored in our project folder. First, we need to create variables for each of them that contains the file path to them. As the script is located within the same folder as the images, we don't need to specify the full file path, only the name of the image. Let's start by typing the following: rock equals photo image open bracket file equals apostrophe rock dot png apostrophe close bracket. Here we can see that we use a method called photo image to bring the image into Tkinter and then assign the file name using the file equals method. All this information is now stored in a variable called rock. Copy the rock statement and paste it twice underneath. Change the variable names to paper and paper.png and to scissors and scissors.png. Now let's create 3 buttons that the images will be displayed on. Enter a few lines down and type rock underscore button equals tk dot button open bracket window comma image equals rock comma. This uses the image method of a button to set the button to the photo image that we just declared in the variable of rock. Then type relief equals apostrophe flat apostrophe comma BD equals 0, comma active background equals apostrophe black apostrophe comma BG equals apostrophe black apostrophe close bracket. This will create a flat button which displays the rock image. Copy this line of code and paste twice underneath. Change the variable names to paper underscore button and scissors underscore button. Change the image variable within the buttons to paper and scissors. The rest of the code remains the same. Now, we need to place the buttons within our window. On the next line down, type rock underscore button dot place open bracket x equals bracket screen underscore width asterisk 33 close bracket minus 105, comma y equals 350 close bracket. This will use the variable screen width, which we created earlier, and place the button at 33% of the screen width minus 105 pixels. Let's run the code to make sure that the first button is displaying correctly. Here we can see that our first button has been created. When we click it, nothing happens yet. Now, back in our script, copy the rock underscore button place statement and paste it twice underneath. Change the variable names to paper underscore button and scissors underscore button. For the paper underscore button, change the screen underscore width times to 50. For the scissors underscore button, change it to 66. If we now run the code again, we can see that our 3 buttons are displayed on the screen. Now, we will need to keep track of the player's score and the opponent's score, which will be the computer's score. So, just under where we declare the rock, paper, scissors variables, where we assign the photo image, enter a new line and type player underscore score equals 0. Then on the next line down, type I underscore score equals 0. This creates 2 variables that we will be able to add to later on in the script. Let's also display a label which shows the current score on screen for both the player and the computer. On the next line down, type label 1 equals tk dot label open bracket window comma text equals apostrophe your score space colon apostrophe plus symbol str open bracket player underscore score close bracket comma font equals open bracket apostrophe Arial apostrophe comma 40 close bracket comma fg equals apostrophe green apostrophe comma bg equals apostrophe black apostrophe close bracket. This just creates a label that displays the player's score in green. Let's place the label on the window. On the next line down, type label 1 dot place open bracket x equals 10, comma y equals 10 close bracket. Now if we run the code. Here I typed label with a lowercase l, where it needs to be an uppercase. Let's try that again, now. We can see in the top left corner that the player's score is shown, which is currently set to 0. Let's now create the labels for the I score. In the script, copy the lines of code for the player's score and paste underneath. Change the variable names to label 2. Change the text of label 2 to I score. Change the variable name inside the str statement to I underscore score. Change the FG color of label 2 to red. In the place statement for label 2, for the X value, type open bracket screen underscore width asterisk 82 close bracket. Now run the code again. Here we can see the AI score is placed in the top right of the screen. Now let's create another label which prompts the user to press one of the buttons. Just above the end main loop. Type label 3 equals tk dot label open bracket. Window, comma, text equals apostrophe. Make your choice exclamation mark, apostrophe, comma. Font equals open bracket, apostrophe. Arial, apostrophe, comma, 50, close bracket, comma. FG equals apostrophe, yellow, apostrophe, comma. BG equals apostrophe, black, apostrophe, close bracket. Now let's place this label on the window, on the line underneath type. Label 3 dot place open bracket. X equals open bracket, screen underscore width. Asterisk 35, close bracket, comma. Y equals 150, close bracket. Now, if we run the code, we can see that the prompt, make your choice, is displayed above the buttons. We just need to create one more label, and a few more buttons now. We need a label that shows whether the player has won, lost, or reached a draw. In order to do this, let's first create a label with empty text as a placeholder. Just under where we set up the variables for our images. Enter a new line and type. Label 4 equals tk dot label open bracket. Window, comma, text equals apostrophe. Temp text apostrophe, comma. Font equals open bracket, apostrophe, Arial, apostrophe, comma. 50, close bracket, comma. FG equals apostrophe, cyan, apostrophe, comma. BG equals apostrophe, black, apostrophe, close bracket. This creates our label with cyan text. We don't need to place the label yet, as we only want it to appear when we choose our first button. We also need to display our choice of button and the computer's choice of button to the screen. To do this, let's create two new buttons. They won't contain any commands, but they will just be used to display which button has been chosen. Underneath label 4, copy the rock underscore button code and paste it here. Change the variable name of this button to player underscore button. We don't need to change any of the settings. Paste the code again underneath and this time name the variable AI underscore button. This creates two placeholder buttons which we will modify later in the script. Let's now create the code for our main button presses. Underneath label 1 and label 2. Enter a new line and type def result open bracket player underscore choice close bracket colon. Then enter down and type pass. This creates a function that we will store all our buttons code inside of. It also declares the variable player underscore choice, which we can pass values to. If we go down to the rock, paper, scissors buttons, we can now call this function from within the button commands. At the end of the rock underscore button before the close bracket, type comma command equals lambda colon. Result open bracket apostrophe rock apostrophe close bracket. This will pass the string name of rock through to the function. Copy the command section of code and paste it at the end of the paper underscore button. And at the end of the scissors underscore button. Change the value that's passed back for the corresponding button to paper and to scissors. Now let's begin writing our buttons code. Within the result function, remove the pass statement. We will need to change the value of the player and AI score, so we will need to declare them as global variables within the function. Type global player underscore score. Then on the next line down, type global AI underscore score. Now, we need the computer to pick from rock, paper and scissors at random. To do this we will need to use the random library. At the top of the code, where we have our import statements, enter down a new line and type, import, random. Then, back in our function, let's create the statement that chooses a random option. Type ai_choice equals random dot choice open bracket apostrophe rock apostrophe comma apostrophe paper apostrophe comma apostrophe scissors apostrophe close bracket. Now whenever the function is called, one of the three words will be chosen at random and assigned to the variable choice. Now let's write the code that displays the draw, win and lose statements. On the next line down, let's write an if statement. Type if ai_choice player_choice : This compares to see if we have chose the same value as the computer. If this is the case, then it will be a draw. Press enter to go down to the next line. Now let's place the draw statement on the screen. Type label 4.place open bracket x equals open bracket screen underscore width asterisk 45 close bracket comma y equals 700 close bracket. Now on the next line down, let's set the text of the label. Type label 4.config open bracket text equals apostrophe draw exclamation mark apostrophe close bracket. If it's a draw, we want to give both players a score of 1. So, on the next line down, type player_score equals player_score plus symbol 1. Then on the next line down, type ai_score equals ai_score plus 1. If we run the code now and keep pressing one of the buttons until we get a draw, we will see that the statement draw gets displayed on the screen. Next, we need to define the win statement. We win based on a number of conditions. If the computer chooses rock and we choose paper, we win. Or, if the computer chooses paper and we choose scissors, or if the computer chooses scissors and we choose rock. So, we need to write those conditions into an else if statement. In the script, enter down a new line and backspace to break out of the current if statement. Then type if open bracket ai_choice apostrophe rock apostrophe and player_choice apostrophe paper apostrophe close bracket. Then type or backslash and press enter. This will enter down to the next line, but the current line of code will be continued. Now, copy the choice and player choice statement all the way up to the or backslash and paste twice below. On the end statement, remove the or backslash and type a colon instead. Then, in the two additional statements, in the AI choice on the first statement, replace the word rock for paper. In the AI choice on the second statement, replace the word rock for scissors. Then on the first statement, change the player choice word from paper to scissors, and on the second statement, change it from paper to rock. This will give us 3 else if and or statements and covers all of our win criteria. Now, on the next line down, type label 4.place open bracket x equals open bracket screen underscore width asterisk 45 close bracket comma y equals 700 close bracket. This places label 4 on the screen. Now on the next line down, type label 4.config open bracket text equals apostrophe win exclamation mark apostrophe close bracket. This sets the text of label 4 to win. Now, when the player wins, we want to add a score of 1 to the player score, so copy the line of code that increases the player score and paste onto the next line down. We have now written the draw and the win statements. The only other remaining criteria is the lose statement. To add this, go to the next line down and remove the indent. Then type else, : then enter down to the next line. Here we can place label 4 again, copy the label 4 place line from above and paste it here. Then copy the label 4 config line and paste on the line below, change the text to lose. Because this is the lose condition, we need to add 1 to the computer's score. On the next line down, type AI_score equals AI_score plus symbol 1. Now if we run the code and press a few buttons, we can see that win, lose and draw are brought back to the window based on the condition. We now need to display what choice the computer made as well as what choice we made. We can do this by calling the temporary buttons we created earlier and updating their image based on what choice is selected. Enter down a couple of lines and backspace. Type if player_choice =rock_. Then enter down a line. Then type player_button.config (image = rock). This sets the player_button image to the image of a rock, if the player chose rock, which is defined in our rock photo image variable. Copy and paste the if statement twice underneath the current code. Change the first if statement to an if statement. Change the last if statement to an else statement, and remove the code in between the else and the colon. Then after the player choice in the if statement, change the value from rock to paper. Update the images of the two pasted conditional statements to equal paper and to equal scissors. Now that we've set the image of the button based on our selection, we need to place the button on the screen. On the next line down, backspace and type player_button.place x = 80, y = 100, . Now that we've set the player choice options, let's do the same for the AI choice. Copy all of the player choice options and paste them underneath. Then for all the statements that mention player, replace the word player for AI. This will do the same as the player variable does, but instead it will display the computer's choice. For the play statement, we need to change the location so that it doesn't appear on top of the player's choice. For the X value, remove the value of 80 and type screen_width *85. Now, if we run the code and press a few of the buttons, we can see that your choice is displayed in the top left, and the computer's choice is displayed in the top right. It will update for each turn. We will now need to make sure that the score label also updates. Back in the script, let's create another function to handle the score updates. Above the result function, enter a few lines and type def score_display (:). This creates a new function called score_display. Then enter down to a new line. We will need to declare a few global variables that we created earlier in our code. Type global player_score. Then on the next line down, type global AI_score. Then on the next line, type global label 1. Then on the next line type global label 2. Label 1 and label 2 are the labels that display our current score before we draw the new score to the window. We need to delete the old label first so that there aren't multiple labels created over the top of each other. To do this, enter a line down and type label1.destroy . This will remove the value of label 1 from the screen. Do the same for label 2 on the next line by typing label2.destroy, open bracket, close bracket. Now that we have destroyed the current labels, we can redraw them to the screen. Above our function, where we first declared label 1 and label 2. Copy the lines of code for the variables and place statements, and paste within our score_display function. This will just rewrite the score to the screen. We need this function to run each time a button is pressed, so if we scroll down to the result function, at the very end, let's write a function call by typing score_display, open bracket, close bracket. Now whenever a button is pressed, it will also call the score display function. If we run the code now and press a few buttons, we can see that the score is updating based on the condition of our win, lose or draw. Our game is now almost complete. The last thing we need to create is a reset button. At the very end of the code, above the window main loop, type reset_button equals tk.button open bracket window, text equals apostrophe reset, font, equals open bracket, Arial, 40, close bracket, BG equals gray, FG equals white, command equals lambda, reset_func, open bracket, close bracket, close bracket. This creates a new button called reset button, and when clicked calls the function named resetfunc, which we haven't created yet. First let's place the button on the screen. On the next line down, type reset_button.place. Open bracket, x equals open bracket. Screen_width asterisk 45, close bracket, y equals 10, close bracket. Now that we've created a button and placed it, let's write the function that we want to execute when the button is pressed. Above the reset button line of code, enter a few lines and type def reset_func, open bracket, close bracket, : Then enter down a new line. We want to reset the scores whenever the reset button is pressed, so we will need to change the global variables where the scores are kept. So type global player_score. Then on the next line down type global AI_score. On the next line down type player_score equals 0. Then do the same for the computer score. On the next line down type AI_score equals 0. We also need to reset the value of our draw, win or lose statement. So on the next line down type label4.config. Open bracket, text equals apostrophe, close bracket. This will set the text to equal nothing so it won't get displayed on the screen. We also want to update the scores on the screen, so let's call the score display function. On the next line down type score_display, open bracket, close bracket. If we now run the code and press a few buttons, then press the reset button, we can see that our game has been reset. This concludes the script for the rock paper scissors game. Like all projects, there are a number of ways you could improve the code. You could create an overall statement that displays whether the player's overall score beats the computer's overall score. You could also create different modes such as best of 3 or best of 5, etc. Stay tuned for more projects in Python. Subscribe to the channel to keep updated with the Python series, or like the video to recommend to others. In this video, we have learned how to create buttons using images, update the screen text, Use the destroy function to remove widgets on the screen and use logic to write multiple if statements, else if statements, and else statements. See you in the next video.